playing guitar.
Okay.
You know, oh, it's great. It's great.
I'm in the WRFG studio observing the jazz show.
I'll send you that Are you guesting tonight?
Hey, Ray,
Observing
Dave is a
for
hell of a guitar player.
I'll tell you
And
where
his
to go.
son is kicking ass on a lot of instruments, and he's what, a junior? Is he a senior or junior?
Junior.
He's a junior in high school.
I'll play trumpet, but I want to learn guitar.
Really, I'll tell you the guy to go to. He's a very nice gentleman named Charlie Williams, and he teaches up at Maple Street in Buckhead. Yes, insanely good. Yeah, he's fantastic. He used to play with
bass also. Or?
Yeah. I mean, he knows bass. You know, most great guitar players play bass too.
Yeah.
You know, but they have teachers out there. You know, very good teachers.
Where is it located?
Maple Street Guitars, Maple Drive in Buckhead.
Maple Street Drive.
I'll give you the.
Okay.
Yeah. I always recommend them.
Yeah.
To anyone who asks, I say go there because they've got a handful of great teachers over there. Plus, they sell great guitars too.
Really?
Yeah.
So I need one.
So, you need a guitar. What kind of guitar are you interested in?
Just something basic that I can learn on. You know?
An acoustic guitar and an electric guitar.
Electric.
Okay. Yeah.
He recommended one to me. We'll talk.
Okay.
Yeah. Talk to this guy.
I will. He's a cool guy. I can see it.
Yeah, we'll talk. Because he recommended me to go up there, and I bought one.
Yeah, I love guitar. That's my thing.
Yeah. Well, see, I played trumpet since I was in 3rd grade, but it's like I played in college jazz band, and I kind of got to the point where I felt like I couldn't go any further with it. You know.
Hey, Dave.
Excuse
me. So, is this recording even if you don't hit it? You just hit the record and it starts recording automatically?
No, you gotta play it. You gotta play it. Press play.
Until like
then I would know that it would start counting. You know, it's just like
I know, but wanted to learn a rhythm instrument that I could, compose on, or be more creative. You know, I'm a jazz guy, and people aren't really playing jazz as much anymore. And I can play with little group, but I wanna move on.
Yeah. Well, guitar is great. Piano is greater. You know, piano will. If you want, your theory and all, right?
I know some theory. Now I'm not as good as I should be, but I know some.
Yeah.
Like playing chords will be a challenge for me because I've only played,
exactly.
Trumpet. You play notes,
Exactly. If you get all the time in the world, I would say, hey, take up piano. I mean, you get your theory down. You can just see the note. It's very visual. But the guitar is much heavier.
Right.
In my opinion.
So I actually was debating between guitar and piano. So who's a good piano teacher?
Oh, there are a lot around, but I would go explore the guitar thing.
Water?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, who doesn't want to be Hendrix, right?
I mean, I would give my left foot to play like Hendrix. I got a Hendrix story to tell you before I go. I went to the 1970 Byron Pop Festival down in Byron, Georgia, and it was like insane. It was fantastic music, And
that's the only set of headphones that we have?
there's a band called Poco that was on the bill, and this is like bedlam. No one knew who was going to be playing next and whatnot. Anyway, I was there with my brothers, and this band called Poco came on, and they played country rock stuff. And my brother said, I don't like this. So we got up and we moved back, we went back to our campsite, and we didn't know that Hendrix was next. So, he came on, we missed him, but I got to hear him from a half a mile away.
Wow. Wow.
The chance of a lifetime. But I at least got to hear him in a live situation.
Yeah.
That was all
still pretty amazing.
Yeah, really. So you're just interested in doing some stuff at RFG?
Well, yes, and also I have a music class I'm in at Emory, and this is my final project.
Cool!
They choose a venue, and I've known John for 17 years or something. So I asked him if I could do it at the station, and that's kind of developed.
Good idea. You've come to the right place. You really have. So anyway, good luck on your thing. Touch James. Maple Street Guitar.
Okay. Great for me in that position.
Okay,
All
thanks
right,
a lot.
you take care, man.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, see you later, Dave.
All right, that's good. I'm on number 2.
Ray, I was thinking we'll let you introduce yourself and just talk about what you're doing. Talk about your project. You know, you've done it for your whatever.
Okay.
And then you can probably use that as part of your presentation.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Cool. If you have video on there and you want to record yourself, you're welcome to do that.
Yeah, I'm recording video now. I hope
Okay, I didn't bring-
I hope it's getting sound.
Show them how to put the headphones in. Boy.
It's in. Okay, you can listen.
Stand by. Yes, WRFG 89.3 FM is the station you have it tuned to. And I am certainly glad that you do. It is Thursday night between hours of 10 p.m. 12 a.m. We got John sitting down behind the boards tonight, and I am privileged to be here. Also with my main man, James. James, how you doing this evening?
Doing great tonight. Love the weather, even though it's raining.
It's
just that,
gentle rain, man.
that 70-something degrees. I can do that all year long.
Yeah, it's nice. It's
Nice.
Look, we both got on T-shirts.
And this is December 5th.
Absolutely. And we have a guest in the house tonight, a young man by the name of Raymond Smith McCoy. Right? How you doing?
I'm doing great, John. How are you?
Good. Yeah. Welcome to WRFG, and this is your first time here. Hopefully, it won't be your last. And we're gonna, talk a little bit about what you're doing and why you're here. But we just want to welcome you to Ascension. It's in our normal rotation of Jazz to Soothe Your Soul here every weeknight, and James and myself, we generally hold it down on Thursdays, and tonight is no exception. And we are glad that you tuned in. Sometimes I just kind of grab some music based on my feeling as I'm going through the week, and this week was feeling a little nostalgic, not going too far back, but brought it in with some Tom Scott. And Tom Scott, back in the, I want to say late 70s, early 80s, had a CD entitled Born Again. And that was a pretty swing cut. It's on GRP, and had some great people playing with him. Randy Brecker, John Patitucci, Kenny Kirkland.
Yeah.
It was just unbelievable. And the tune that we heard on that was entitled Backburner. And in my opinion, that was a pretty swinging cut. And you might not always associate Tom Scott with swinging music, because he's like that West Coast cool,
Yeah.
kind of laid back kind of
Yeah,
guy.
you got me on that one.
Yeah.
He played Stump the Band.
Yeah, GRP had some pretty good bands back in the day.
Yes,
and
he did.
also my man Eric Gill on guitar. And then we followed it up with Eric Gill on guitar. I'm jumping ahead of myself on this Bob James that we just played from the Heads LP. We heard the tune Nightcrawl, and Eric Gill doing work with Bob James on that. And that particular piece, it was a signature Bob James piece, but you could kind of tell he had something a little special on it.
Yes.
And I think it was the Eric Gill.
Yes. Eric Gill is one of our favorite guitar players around here.
Yeah.
And from time to time, we do play cuts off of some of his CDs from back in the day.
Also had Grover Washington, David Sanborn working with him as well. So, that's why I was saying, Grover can swing.
Yeah.
All right. So it is 16 minutes after the hour. And once again, I'm glad that you guys are here. We just got some music queued up. Oh, want to thank everybody for coming out to our probably most spectacular fundraiser.
The silent auction.
Yeah, I shouldn't say most spectacular, because the Blues Barbecue is pretty spectacular. But this one here is probably one of our more signature fundraisers. The 21st silent auction, the Karen, I'm saying Karen Hartfield, Sandra K. Hartfield silent auction, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Saw a lot of people, a lot of friends of the station, a lot of air shifters that we don't normally get to see because we're here on Thursday night.
Yeah.
And it's just good interacting.
Interact with a lot of the community that listens too. So we greatly appreciate you guys for coming out and supporting. So what we're going to do is just we're going to move right on back into the music. As always, we thank you for tuning in. And if you'd like to call, the phone number is 404-523-8989.
So let me know when you're ready.
So,
That's pretty much how it went, John.
That would be pretty much how it went.
And I've been coming ever since. That's been 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, and actually, I'm John Berard, and I've been here at WRG for about 10 years now, having this program Ascension for maybe 9 of those 10 years. And that's what we do. We just come in and play jazz on Thursday nights and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, much fun, much fun.
so let me ask both of you, what's so special about this station? I believe it's special, but I want to hear in your words.
Well, if you listen to WRG1, there's all type of music from hip hop to country to jazz to, you name it, they play it. Celtic music, there's Indian music programs, so there's something for everybody. And also there's progressive news, which is news you won't hear from a view that you don't hear on other stations. And Jazz department, we don't play. We don't have a playlist. We play what we want. It's hand-picked music. Whatever we like, that's what we play. And the freedom to do that is just, you don't realize how much freedom that is. And you'll listen to the show tonight, and you'll be able to hear some of that.
Right.
And that's the big thing about WRG. And everybody here is a volunteer except for 2 people. So it's a labor of love. Everybody wants to be here. It's not, nobody's trying to, there is no money to be made off WRG, which is the way it should be. It's about the music, it's about the community, it's about the people.
And I just have one more formal question for you.
Okay.
And then I'll take some notes along the way, mental notes, but one of the things I'm going to focus on is the mission statement of the radio station and how it lives up to that statement. So if you could say a few words about how this serves the community.
Yeah, I'm going to give you that. Let me, we have it all printed up so when you see it, you'll know it.
Right.
So let me get that for you.
Okay, but in your words, does it live up to?
Oh yes, it does. It does. If you go on our website, there's a historical piece on WRG and all the things they've done over the past 40 years. It's been in existence for 40 years. So in order to be in existence for 40 years, you have to be doing something right. You have to live up to your mission, which is to give people who normally don't have a voice. And that's what WRG, it doesn't matter what gender, race, creed, religion, all that. We give a voice to everybody. That's what WRG is. It's a community radio station.
I'm going to be hanging out with these guys for the next couple hours, and I'm sure there'll be more to come.
I want to know who this is, man. Oh, sounded like Jay Edwards now. What's going on, man? Everything is good, man. Hey, man, the people. Right. Hey, look, man, the piece that I just played is called Istan Blues. It's from Imran Kotan. He's a drummer that lives here in town. And his CD is nice, man. If you don't have it, I'm going to make sure that he gets it to you. Yeah, man. Yeah, he was working it, man. Yeah. So, how you been, man? Yes, WRG 89.3 FM, where you hear hand-picked music. And we're just rolling out with it. We ended up with Blue Mitchell, Blues on My Mind is the name of the CD. It's a Riverside collection. And we heard the tune Sweet Cakes. Blue Mitchell on trumpet, that Art Blakey, Paul Chambers, Curtis Fuller, Benny Golson, Johnny Griffin, Jimmy Keith, Philly Joe Jones, Sam Jones, Wynton Kelly, Wilbur Ware, you know, the who's who. Yeah. And once again, it's off the CD Blues on My Mind by Blue Mitchell. And that was preceded by the title track and the track, which is the name of the recording, Salt and Pepper, Sonny Stitt and Paul Gonsalves. And we heard the title track, Sonny Stitt, working both alto and tenor, Paul Gonsalves on tenor, Hank Jones, Milt Hinton, and Obie Johnson on drums. And of course, you know, Milt Hinton is one of those guys that I don't know nearly enough about, but I heard like he was the mainstay of bass players in the, you know, 30s, 40s,
Yes.
50s. Yeah.
And he was quite a photographer too.
I heard that. I heard an interview with him a while back, and yeah,
he took pictures of everybody
Cool.
at sessions and everything. Not only was he a great bass player, he was a great photographer.
photographer. I like to take a look at his photographs. Yeah, and then we brought it home. We heard from Mr. Emrah, E-M-R-A-H Kotan, K-O-T-A-N, and his CD is entitled "The New Anatolian Experience." And Emrah's been in the Atlanta area for quite a while. He used to hang out with some guys, and they had a group called the International Groove Conspiracy. I believe that's the name of the group that they had. But Emrah's doing fine work now. He was actually on tour with India Irie, and we heard the tune entitled Istan Blues, and Emrah Kotan is actually from Turkey, so you get a good feel for that. And we started the last set off with John Beasley. I want to say the CD is about 4 or 5 years old. Benny Maupin, Jeff Tane Watts, James Jennis, and Brian Lynch. So it's got some pretty cool guys working with him. And we heard the tune Positively, and of course, John Beasley on piano. So that's how we're rolling it tonight. Hand-picked music. And as I mentioned earlier in tonight's show, we have a young man that is visiting us. He is from the Raleigh, North Carolina area, but right now he's holding it down in Atlanta over at Emory University. Raymond Smith McCoy, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, John. Thanks.
Good, man. Good. So Ray and I, we go back a few years, even though he's only like about 21, 22.
29.
29, okay. Don't play you cheap.
Right.
But I've known Ray since he's been maybe 10 years old. And he's always been a lover of music and the culture and the arts. And he's over at Emory University doing his studies. And why don't you just actually introduce yourself? I don't want to take too much in introducing you. I'd like for you to do that. And then, tell why you're here.
Well, as John said, my name is Raymond Smith McCoy. I'm an undergraduate at Emory University. I'm a biology major, but I've always had a love for music, as John said. And this semester, I've been privileged to be in a great music course, and the final project was to choose a venue to visit, explore, interview people, and try to get a sense of the character of the venue. And the professor mentioned that a radio station would be an option, and having known John for so long, I called him up and asked if I could come down and interview him and experience a show, and he was very gracious and said yes. And as I did research on the radio station and read about the mission statement and all the things that this station provides, it energized me more to want to do this project as well as I could, and also try to submit it for the Emory Undergraduate Research Symposium to give the station some more much needed and much due recognition. And so that's my hope from being here. So I'll be hanging out with these two gentlemen tonight for a while, observing, learning, and soaking up the music.
Absolutely, man. So we are glad to have you. And as Ray mentioned, the door is open, as you may have heard James and myself say many times. And for those that have taken advantage of just coming down to the radio station and just checking us out, man, it's not too many places where you can do that. And Ray, we thank you for being here, man. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to be here, and I'll be back if you let me.
Oh, yeah, we might let you.
The door's open all the time.
The door's open. So we've got some music lined up, and well, let's do this. Let's tell you who we are in a more formal way, and then we'll get back to the music. And as always, we thank you for tuning into WRFG 89.3 FM, your station for jazz to soothe your soul, the hours 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. And before I get into this, I want to thank Brother Jay Edwards. Jay used to be here at WRFG way back in the day. Now he's over at our sister station across town, over at the University Center. And he just called in and gave a little love. So we love you too, Jay. He has a great radio program on Saturdays if you all want to check him out. So let's get into this quick message, and then we're going to get back into the music. And this is James Ellison. Oh, that's not right. Yeah, a kind of interesting end to the last hour and introduction to the 11 o'clock hour. We just heard from Maynard Ferguson, and it's one of my favorite pieces. And I may have told this story once or twice before. Maynard Ferguson was one of my first concerts that I went to. My dad took me, I think I was like 10 or 11 years old, and Maynard Ferguson opened up for Dad Jones and Mel Lewis.
Wow.
How about that, man? So thank you, Dad. But I was a Maynard Ferguson fan ever since. And it's from his Primal Scream LP. And the tune that we heard was Cheshire Catwalk. And a lot of those guys who are just regular DJs, go out to the clubs and DJ and do a lot of stuff, I'm sure they're familiar with that LP. Yeah, right before that, James, who did we hear from?
James Marshall Hendricks. And that was, well, he's also known as Jimi Hendrix, but that was Still Raining, Still Dreaming from his, what was the name of that CD? Electric Ladyland, and that was, played that because of All the Rain today.
Yeah, All the Rain, and I guess more rain to come.
Yes.
And then that Jimi Hendrix documentary, which was out not too long ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great on PBS. If you get a chance to see it, you know, you can just Google Jimi Hendrix documentary and you'll find it. It's on the PBS website. It's pretty nice. And you know, the other thing about how that ties into jazz is that Jimmy was moving toward that before he died.
Yeah, well, Jimmy, I believe, was recognized in some of the magazines and charts of the day as having done some great jazz work.
Yeah, and in fact, there was a telegram that Miles Davis had sent to Jimmy's manager, and they were all supposed to.
And it's just been a great source of relaxation therapy in my life, and I get a chance to do something that I generally don't even do at home. I don't play much music at home, not as much as I'd like to.
Yeah.
So this is an outlet for me, and I look forward to coming down here every Thursday and hanging out with James.
Yeah. And in fact, we come out more than just Thursday.
Yeah.
most of the time, you know.
Yeah.
It's a family here.
And speaking of, Ralph and Paul were on last night, and they did the United States of Jazz.
Yes.
And that was an interesting thing because they picked, and I think they covered about 30 states, man, if I'm not mistaken.
Quite a
So,
few.
their theme was just travel across, hit as many states as they can, whether it be the musician born in that state or the song title about that state and whatnot, and I was impressed.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
Yeah, I think Ralph and Thomas will be on tomorrow night.
Okay.
So that's always a great
interesting
show.
combination. All right. So, Ray, you want to say hello to anybody, man?
Yeah, I actually do. Speaking of people, speaking of appreciating people and things and life and beauty and all the rest of that, I wanted to say I love and thank you to my mother, who's in Raleigh, North Carolina,
Dr. Smith McCoy.
Dr. Sheila Smith McCoy,
Yes.
who I would not be here without in more ways than one.
Absolutely.
And also a special shout out to my friend, mentor, and counselor, Mr. Steve Rothkind, who's actually in town today and will be through the weekend playing tennis.
Cool.
And there's one other person that's always on my heart and on my mind that I'm thinking of, but that person knows who she is, and I'll just leave it at that.
Hello. Yeah, so we appreciate that, and again, appreciate you coming down. And Ray, the door is open, man, if ever you need to come down and just want to hang out or get some more information.
Well, is the door open if I just want to come down and hang out?
If you want to just come down, it's like that, man. Yeah. And if not, if it's a time that I'm not here, we'll make it happen for you.
Because I may be a younger man, but I do appreciate jazz and its legacy, and especially big band jazz.
Right, and being a younger guy, there's some young cats around town who are just kicking up the jazz world, man. And in fact, I want to go and listen to Mace Hibbert playing tomorrow night.
That's right.
And he's going to be over at Churchill. Yeah.
And then next week, Brian Hogan.
Brian Hogan's, yeah.
Oh, man.
So we've just got a ton of great musicians here in Atlanta, so we need to appreciate that as well. It's 17 minutes after the hour, and let's do this again.
Davis on bass and Alan Dawson on drums. And we heard you cut a Luna tune.
Luna tune?
Yeah.
That's a little crazy, wasn't it?
And that was 1960.
Luna as in out in space?
Yes.
Moon kind of thing?
Lunar. Yeah, 1963.
Luna. Yeah, okay. Cool,
1963.
Man. Yeah, we were talking about 1959 a little while ago.
Yes.
And right in the middle, well, actually not in the middle, but the third cut next that came from a CD entitled Golden Flute, Yusef Lateef, and we heard the piece entitled Roadrunner. And Yusef Lateef, of course, doing the wind instruments there. Hugh Lawson had Roy Brooks Jr. on drums, and Herman Wright on the bass, and Hugh Lawson on piano, and Impulse recording.
Yes. And before that, we heard from Max Roach, and we heard the cut Blues Waltz, and that's from his Jazz in 3/4 time. And that featured Max Roach, of course, on drums, Kenny Dorham on trumpet, Sonny Rollins on tenor sax, Billy Wallace on piano, and George Morrow on bass. And that was recorded in 1957.
Taking it back a little bit.
Wow.
And then we started off with a recording that was even made before that, Mr. Louis Armstrong and the Katanga concert. And we heard the piece entitled Rocking Chair. And I guess Louis Armstrong is one of those cats that I don't play enough of.
Yeah.
But I always loved his work and probably need to start playing a little bit more. But I know Reverend Mike plays quite a bit of
Yes,
Louis
he
Armstrong. Yes. So that's how we're rolling tonight. And we still have Raymond Smith McCoy is hanging out with us. He looked like he's going to take it all the way up to 12 o'clock.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on necessarily staying all this time, but it's been so much fun that I had to.
It usually works out that way.
Yeah.
We just invite you.
Yeah.
You do the rest. The rest is up to you.
But John, will you permit a young man to run his mouth for a second?
Sure, man. Sure.
You're just thinking about jazz and life. Jazz can be chaotic. Jazz can be unpredictable. It's improvisation. It's harmony and it's swing. And it's kind of like life. You never know exactly how it's going to turn out, but if you like the jazz song that you're listening to, that it's going to turn out well. And you may not know what note's coming next, but you're going to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
And I just wanted to see if you guys agreed with that.
From a young man, I like that.
Yeah, I do. That's pretty deep.
Pretty profound.
Well, also from a young man, I mentioned earlier someone special.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I look at her and think about her, I hear jazz.
Hello. Jazz is in the air. So that's what WRFG will do for you. That's what jazz will do for you, man. And Ray, I really agree with what you said 110%, that jazz is definitely a parallel to life. It goes and it comes and it takes you on journeys and it brings you back, and it'll hold you tight for a minute and then it'll let you go. You'll free fall for a while, and
Never predictable.
Unpredictable, but you always land on your feet, So that's I like that, man. I like that. All right, and We've got 15 minutes, 14 minutes left. We got some more music queued up. I'm not supposed to be doing a promo here. Let me see if I can get that on real quick, and it looks like I can. And we'll just take that up, and then after that we'll come back, and we appreciate everybody listening tonight via the web. And James, you always do the social stuff.
Yeah,
so
tune in
on.
radio. Check us out on the WRFG apps, and you can get us all over the place. Oh yeah, and don't forget the playlist will be on our Facebook page, WRFG Jazz, tomorrow.
So check that out, and we'll let you know what's coming up next.